Oh, you can look at my new
Just like the
poster I
balloon
flew
games
through.
earlier, now we're going to make
In a
another
flappy
balloon based on their
bird.
game,
In
and you'll be able to watch it along. This game's a little scarier though than the balloon game. I know the kids got scared, but this one's worse. So I want to talk with. We have the GD here and the producer of the game. Please introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Larry. I'm the game designer of this project.
My name is Justin Gibbs. I'm the producer from Dallas, Texas.
And
Yeah.
we're happy that you guys are here with us. First off, your game's called Lost in the Dark. Now, what inspired your game?
Well, we had group brainstorming sessions back in the day, and we had a ton of concepts that we were going through, and we were trying to figure out what kind of game we wanted to make. And one of the ideas that resonated with us was the idea of this child in a nightmare, and we liked the idea of these have potential to kind of to touch players in a different way rather than just like pure mindless fun. And so it was just that potential that we recognized, and that's why we ended up going for it.
Is that why you focused on a little girl because of the child nightmares? Because I know when I was a child, my nightmares were always way more creative, extravagant.
Yeah. Well, in terms of our main character, from early on, we wanted to focus on the theme of vulnerability, and so when we decided that we were going to make a third-person game, we thought of like what kind of character would make the player feel the most vulnerable.
Now I see she just went all ethereal now. Can you tell us what just happened there?
Yeah. So it's, essentially, the main mechanic is that the light is safety. So whenever you're in the light, that's like gives you life. And so when you're in the darkness, as you saw there, you kind of like start fading away into kind of like a ghostly form. So that was basically her starting to fade.
That does sound scary, and like you want to stay with the light. That's like a lot of fantastic classic indie horror games. Oh God! I just looked up on screen when I heard the sound, and it's that scary guy was on there. Can you tell us more about that monster that was just on screen?
Yeah. So that monster, his codename is Bagman. He's basically the boogeyman of the game, and the reason why he's called Bagman was because when we started initial concepts, he had this giant sack that he would carry around, and he would stuff the player into and drag them away. But as we iterated more, the sack disappeared, but we still call him Bagman.
It's great because it's very similar to the Krampus story. So if you ever want to do Christmas DLC, you guys are already set. It sounds like.
That's in the plans.
Skins, yeah.
So what is your biggest challenge making this game? Because this game is graphically amazing. I love all the artwork in this game. The gameplay seems really innovative in that, but it's cool how it relies on some of these old conventions and does twist them. So what was some of the biggest challenges you hit?
Well, that's a really interesting question, and the answer to it is sort of how we went about the design for the game. Something that Larry said a second ago is that we really focused on this idea of making the player feel vulnerable, and we wanted the player to feel these feelings. And so the biggest challenge that we've faced up to this point has been trying to find specific gameplay that fits with this feeling that we wanted the player to feel. So we're going for this feeling. Well, what gameplay is it that makes the player feel that way? And sort of overcoming that challenge led us to where we are now.
I really like that. The focusing on vulnerability is great because that's what seems to separate the great horror games from the mediocre ones. Because my current game of the year is Resident Evil, and that makes you very, very vulnerable. And I would definitely feel vulnerable playing this game. That Bagman looks like he can steal me away, really. But so you've mentioned before how Bagman used to just put you in his bag and that. What are other ways your game's just changed over the development process? Because you've been working on this for how many months now?
4 months?
Wow.
6
Well,
months?
yeah.
4? It felt like 4.
Yeah, it's kind of with the
It didn't
full
feel
team.
longer
It's
than
been,
that? It
It's
felt-
been four months with the full team.
Yeah, but the kind of like the prototyping process beforehand also took like 1 or 2 months. So
Yeah.
it was longer than 4 months for sure.
Nice. I'm just noticing the little details you guys have, like spinning around, the full model, the cloth on her dress moves. It's
Yeah.
really great, the attention to detail you guys have put in. I love it. What's some other things that players might miss that you want to point out in the demo? These little details.
Well, this is something right here. We have some big items in our game that players are able to interact with, and so along with this rocking horse here, there's a globe that players can interact with, that they can spin, and other things like that. So that's just some little things that players might miss. If they're not going into every nook and cranny and looking at stuff like that.
And that's okay, because we designed the game to be exploratory, so you could discover these things if you want to, or you could miss them and it wouldn't hinder your experience.
It's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed the painting right before we switched levels and that. Were the paintings made by guys on your team in that? Was that actually made by you guys? Because it looks amazing. It looks like actual Victorian artwork right there.
Yeah, we have a very talented artist who was able to do these paintings for us. All of them were done digitally, so they're done in, I believe he uses Photoshop.
Yeah.
And so yeah, he uses Photoshop, and he's just a very talented guy. He also is responsible for lots of the environment geometry. So he's sort of a power player, and he's able to do a little bit of everything, and he's able to do it really well. Obviously the paintings are super good.
Because if you told me that was just girl hangs out with boy in yellow 1920, I would have believed you in that.
Yeah.
It fits the time period really well.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us more about like the setting of the game?
Yeah, so this is set in Victorian London, so late 1800s, and we set it during a time where there's an epidemic sweeping through the city, and so this whole nightmare is kind of centered around that idea of the sickness and how it's affecting the world and the character.
So you don't have to spoil it, but just give me a wink of the bagman spreading that sickness. Is he kind of responsible?
He represents it in a way, yes.
Okay. He's symbolically coughing on people. Is what I'm
Yes.
what I'm hearing in that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you've been working on this game, and it looks fantastic for 5 months now, and your full team's been in it for 4 months. What keeps your team going? Like, how many hours do you put in every week, and what keeps your team driving to do this final project?
As far as hours a week, we put in a lot of hours a week. I don't know the exact number, but something that describes our team, I think, is professionalism. And part of that is like, you have good days and you have bad days, obviously, during the development process. I think something that our team does really well is keeps a level head. And so every week we're motivated to come in and give 100% to make the best product we can and for each other. And I think that's why people come in every day, is because they are a part of the team and they want to do this for the team and they want to do it for each other. And I think that motivation between team members is what really pushed us forward.
Do you find, coming from more of a producer business role and that, do you find that team motivation is what makes you gel? Are there like some days where just, it's 8 a.m., you guys are all tired and that, you just don't want to work, but other days you're just like, we have to just keep working that? Because one of the tablet games earlier was saying some days, they're like, we have to get it done, and then keep working that.
Yeah, I think, I think every team's going to have days like that. And, coming in at 8 in the morning, like nobody's ever really ecstatic to be there at 8 in the morning, but it's more about the team culture and the motivation that we have that brings everybody together and drives us forward. So
it's fantastic. I guess I haven't really asked, because we've seen a lot of inspiration, but what are some of your favorite horror games now? What are some of the games you guys play in that?
Some of the games that I've played that really resonated with me were some horror games like Silent Hill. Fatal Frame's a big one. Major inspiration for kind of the tone.
And there's just Bagman hanging out and that just
yeah, just chilling. And another one is more like exploratory games like Little Nightmares. That's another one.
Oh, that's a great one.
And so we took a look at all these inspirations. I remember there was a time where everyone on the team was tasked with kind of bring in their own inspirations for what they wanted for the game, and so people were bringing clips and were playing games and showing them to each other, so that we could all come to a consensus of the experience that we wanted to make.
And we looked at things from some of the Batman Arkham games.
Oh, the Scarecrow battle.
Yeah, we had some stuff. I think Gone Home got mentioned once or twice, and then we had the obvious ones like the Silent Hills.
We're not going to see any of the Scarecrow glitches right now. I don't want to scare anyone to make the streams down again. We ran for a lot of those difficulties. I'll have a heart attack. That'll be the scariest thing possible. You see, I like the little glowing things. I can tell she's trying to get a hat in that. That's really cool. Because
Yeah.
normally you see games, they'll just write the objective, like get hacked. and that.
Yeah, we tried hard to keep things to keep the UI minimal because we didn't want it to be too intrusive on the player. And as they're going into space, if you're going through space, you see a tooltip telling you to do exactly what to do. We didn't want to just overbear the player with those. We do have a few of them in the game, but we try to keep the experience as organic as possible.
Yeah, with the like minimal heads-up display and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you don't want to take the player out in that.
Right.
Because that just ruins the surprise. Like that. Bagman coming out of nowhere. I really like how it seems like when she hides the light in that, and she goes all spectral in that, the Bagman can't see her in that. That adds a cool level of gameplay, kind of a stealthy aspect hiding.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of, we wanted the player, we talked about this idea of vulnerability earlier, and one of the things that we keep talking about in development is like, do we get her more powerful? Do we get her less powerful? And trying to find that right balance of like, she is affecting her environment, but is also not powerful enough to make a big change or something like that. And so that's sort of where this mechanic rides that line of giving you the ability to escape, but not fight back.
And it went through many iterations.
Yeah, lots and lots of.
Sure it did. Did you find it frustrating trying to find the right balance? The player is like, well, I can't do it. I quit. And that, and then being like, this guy isn't even a threat. Bagman, more like lame man.
Well, that's really interesting because we've discovered through playtesting that a lot of these responses vary from person to person. So like different people bring different different perceptions into like what they think Bagman is, how they should approach him, how dangerous he is,
Yeah.
as well as what kind of situation they're in. And I think part of that's because of like our focus on the atmosphere. So people kind of interpret it differently, and because of that, they approach it differently as well. And so some people find Bagman really easy to like just to weave around, like they figure out like how to get past him, and then other people are like terrified of him. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, did you try and model Bagman off of playing any particular phobias in that? Because I know the phobias are the easiest way to scare someone.
Well, Bagman's basically based off the idea of like the boogeyman. It's a very common enemy that, or not sorry enemy. I'm thinking game terms now. But like it's
No
like
worries.
a common fear that a lot of people have when they were kids, and so Bagman's basically involved with that.
Yeah, kind of like being that monster in the closet hiding.
Yes.
Yeah, he also kind of represents like the plague doctor kind of thing, you know, with the type of mask that
Oh,
he's
yes.
got. And so there was kind of a sub-narrative we had early in development. I don't think it's in the game anymore, but you know, there's this doctor that's actually trying to help her, but she thinks the doctor's trying to kill him. And so this is her perception of what the doctor is. You know, he's got this, you know, evil witch doctor, and he's coming after her, and she thinks he's dangerous, but actually he's trying to help her.
I mean, those masks were terrible designs, really. They were spooky back then.
Horrifying.
I don't know why the doctors wore them. They weren't really doctors. I don't think they had medical licenses back then. But I guess, because I really enjoy with all the levels in that, it seems like a real house that you outlaid. Is that what you focus on with the levels? Try to make it very realistic?
We wanted to tell a story in each of the rooms, and so we spent a lot of time kind of decorating each of the rooms with its own little story. So like this room is kind of like the room where the kids drew a lot of their drawings, but as you can see, there's like papers all over the ground, so it's in disarray to signify that things are not quite right here. We have another one of our artists was very instrumental in kind of like conveying these little environmental stories like throughout the space.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
It gives every room a purpose almost. So you want to explore. You want to keep seeing if you get a little more story nuggets.
Yes, and that's something that we've wanted to do like from the beginning of development. Like because we're kind of a more exploratory game, the environment was a very big focus.
That makes sense. And it looks like you have to go find Bagman almost. I don't think you're going to be able to catch him. I don't know how you're going to do that.
Yeah.
She has very little hands. Big man is a big person. And there he is in that. Ooh. Trying to hide and stealth away. This seems really cool in that. Is there anything else that any gameplay that stands out to you? What's your favorite part of this game personally? Because we've gone through a lot of it. So what is your favorite moment?
Well, so my favorite moment has a little bit of a backstory behind it, and so something that we did early on in development was we held a haunted house, and we used it as basically like a dry run that's in the physical world of our mechanics and testing out different mechanics and kind of to prototype our game. And so one of the things that we were really successful in there was making this atmosphere that was really spooky, and people came through our haunted house and they thought it was kind of creepy and kind of spooky, and they left with this really good impression. And so my favorite slice of our game is just the atmosphere and the sounds and the art and the lighting and all the way that we were able to take that atmosphere that we were good at while we were running that haunted house and actually turning it into an actual thing. Like, here it is in a virtual world, and actually seeing that manifest is really, really cool. Mm-hmm. So that's my favorite part.
I actually remember going for that haunted house,
Oh, yeah.
and I was just yelling at your team because I knew they were there to spook me. I'd see movement in the shadows and be like, "I saw you.
Yeah.
Don't come closer to me." I think that was back when you guys gave me a physical lantern, and for one of them, I literally almost threw the lantern because I was scared, and that would have ruined the puzzle. I feel that would have been a problem. What about you?
So, in addition to all the atmosphere and sounds, I really liked the enemy that we put in our game, Bagman. He really, as development went on and more behavior was added to him, he really started to take kind of a shape of his own. So you have this enemy wandering around, sometimes unpredictably, sometimes he was where we didn't think he was going to be. And
It makes it scarier, really.
yeah, it does.
Is it a bug if it really makes it scary? That's a feature.
Yeah, or is it just sentient? But this ending part that's coming up over here is something that I also really enjoy. It's just everything's coming full circle. You're using the mechanics that we've taught you from the beginning of putting things in the candles, and the finale is just I don't know if it's spoilers to say, but
Yeah, let's not spoil it.
okay.
So if you want to find out the ending, you'll have to play the game.
Yeah, I know. I know they have to prepare the Rocket League tournament. So luckily, I don't know if we'll be able to show the whole ending in that. So that way, give them a little teaser, make them want to come back for more.
Yeah.
And that. I guess I just want to focus on the final questions. If you had to start it all over again, is there anything you would do differently, or would you do this exact same game? Is this how you did it? Do you think the ebbs and flows of development really helped?
I think it's been a very good learning experience. To kind of start with an idea, start with a feeling that you want to go for, and then work your way towards it. There were a lot of trials and tribulations as we were going about it, but ultimately it was a good experience personally for me.
Yeah, I think that would I trade this experience, and the lessons that we've learned for anything? It's no, I wouldn't do that. So in that respect, no, I would do it exactly the same way over again. But obviously, learning what we've learned at this point, if we had another crack at it, I'd be excited to see what we can do.
Yeah, you apply the knowledge, because I feel like during the ebbs and that, you really learn a lot.
Yeah.
So the flows, I don't know if I got the ebb and flow technology right. It's been a long day. I think these are the ebbs and these are the flows.
Yeah, it's all the same.
Yeah, it really is all the same. But this is fantastic. Lost in the Dark, it's a spooky game. It's scary.
Mm-hmm.
It's on PC. It's going to be
Yeah,
great.
PC.
It has frightened me many times when I've played it.
Well, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we now are in the fun phase called stalling. Now we have you guys here. We did it earlier. It's a fun thing. And I want you guys to keep talking to me while they prepare this whole Rocket League thing. So,
Cool.
what do you guys... Oh, okay. Sorry, guys. I was looking at handwriting. That was fun to read. Guys, by the way, this is extra